Welcome, boys and girls. Costin here with a discussion about the Old World campaign mod for Total War Warhammer 3. And I think it's one of the most brilliant mods that has ever been designed for a Total War game. There's a couple of reasons for it, but obviously having a gigantic map is very nice indeed, because it means that areas like Bretonnia feel like Bretonnia. It means that Lorem isn't just a couple of settlements, but it is actually a very important, very powerful location on the map. It means the Empire feels like a freaking empire and all that kind of stuff. Though, of course, it's not strictly perfect. Few things are. For instance, I think that it ends up being a bit too much, which is why I'd recommend you play the classic version of it. And also, just having all these minor factions in the corner for the Realms of Chaos adds very little. But keep in mind, it's still damn brilliant for a person like Chaos Robbie and a couple of people that helped him to design a map this good, this big, that is also fairly lore accurate. I do think he may have got a bit too far on it, and the reason I would say that is because having a map this size, even if you're playing the classic version or whatnot, does tend to end up hurting you in terms of computer performance. Like the map just struggles, and when you go for the end turn, ends up having issues. Okay, but because if we are to demonstrate that particular point, when you collect this end turn button, it will wait for quite a while before it does anything. And yes, I've chosen Gorbat for this particular campaign, just to start it. However, before I collect the end turn button, there's something I need to mention with regards to the old world. Using it by default is actually probably not recommended, and I don't think that's necessarily Chaos Robbie's intention, whatever his intention was. It would be probably fair to say that his intention was to make a map, and what people do with that map is up to them, because it is designed, as far as I can tell, it is designed to be used in conjunction with all kinds of different mods. So it's designed in a kind of generic way, but you can load up things like Radius, things like SFO, etc. on it to improve your experience, or you can load up all kinds of different faction packs, unit packs, Southern Realms, you name it. All those, it is designed to handle that. Mind you, it's, again, not perfect, but again, is a mod that surpasses what Brave Assembly has done in virtually every single campaign map that they've done for a very long time. Because, of course, it is a balancing act, sure, but all the same. I feel like with Immortal Empires versus Old World, like Immortal Empire should be twice the size. Old World is like, this is a bit much, but it's workable. I mean, I get, for instance, Zarnagrund being this industrial center, but honestly, you could cut it in half and it would still feel like a megalopolis. Anyway, so like, yeah, the complete outer layer of it is not strictly necessary. Like, you could just have all of this, like all of this area, and it would still feel like one of the most significant areas of the campaign map without diminishing what it has on offer. Now, of course, you got Caracade Peaks, but do we really need to have so many different settlements? Like, again, you could have just, like, 4 settlements in Caracade Peaks itself. Because right now, you look at the count of it, yeah, it ends up being, again, ridiculous. And also the fact that Nar is part of it is just, yeah. It's also the mission Karak-Azul, which should be more significant. But how do you play it in the best possible way? Well, one of the things that I would recommend you do when you're playing it is you remove Siege Battle Autoresolve benefits. So you install the mod, you install the requirements for said mod, so Mixus and mod configuration tool, and then you get the mods that remove minor settlement and Siege Battle penalty removal. Because to explain that particular aspect, and I'm using those mods over here, to explain that specific aspect, why that matters. It doesn't matter so much for the player, it matters for the AI. Because due to the distances involved, you as the player can handle siege battles very well, you can handle many different situations very well, but the AI will not be able to do so, and that's where the problems start kicking in, really, for the game, because even if you're playing on legendary difficulty, it doesn't matter. You can be playing on legendary, and that difficulty is relevant. Like, by the way, I would firmly say if you're playing any campaign on any difficulty level, you should set the battle difficulty to very hard, not the AI stats modifier. But however, setting battle difficulty affects your auto-resolve, so you might want some increased auto-resolve points mod. Choose the battles you want to go for. Not necessarily the highest version of it, but there's different options of it. Depends on the race you're playing. Like with greenskins, I would go with the highest version of it. With others, I would go with something else. It depends what you're playing, how you're playing it. But that's just to avoid unnecessary engagements. But bear in mind, that, again, there's a balancing act. Or you could just say, okay, I'm not going to go for that. But I also don't want to deal with siege battles or settlement battles, because usually they end up being, like, siege battles in particular. Like, you play as Gorbat, right? Do you know how I win siege battles? I just get a bunch of freaking bolt throwers, and then I tear down the walls, and then nothing in any settlement can stop me. And that's the reason siege battles. There's also siege battle removal as well, so I would recommend those. But I would recommend removing the penalties from settlements, because settlements inflict a damage or inflict a penalty in terms of auto-resolve, and that's not necessarily the problem you're going to have as players. It's the problem AI factions are going to have. So if you had to see major AI empires taking the entire world, creating all kinds of different issues, if you will, in a campaign, having an impact, like Karl Franz becoming really strong, for instance, or Kislev being really powerful, then it is a recommendation you get such a mod, or those two mods, because that way the AI won't hesitate, or they won't be constantly running around, losing armies, and you just becoming more and more and more powerful without anything to stop you. That's the reason for it. Now let's click the enter button. And yeah, 462 individual factions that you have to wait for indicates it's too much. Like, it could easily be cut down in half, like the entire map, and it still would be freaking fantastic. Or maybe not in half, we could manage with, say, 300 or so. But when you have so many different factions, and then you have major ones coming up as well, like, if Immortal Empires has the problem that there's too few minor factions and not enough space for factions to grow and become powerful AI empires, Old World takes it too far in the sense that splits factions apart. I understand that this is something a lot of different people that do enjoy longer campaigns might be looking for, but I'm going to say it flat out. Mod is only as good as the base game allows. You can make whatever mod idea you want, and this is something, by the way, that modders themselves have stated at numerous occasions. Like the community bug fix mod team is like stated that very clearly on many of occasions. Like, yeah, we can fix issues, but if we don't have the capability from CA, or if CA doesn't fix some of the core gameplay issues, then that is a problem. I mean, you could always just pump on Radius and just have a faster campaign in general, because that's what Radius does, with a lot more unit variety, and that would probably be improving that. You could also use Warband upgrade system in order to recruit lower tier units and upgrade them. Though it would be nice to have a mod that allows the AI to use that system as well. Imagine the kind of armies you'd be running into. Wouldn't that be delicious? I mean, I'm sure that would be a lot of work, but that is just some ideas. Either way, it's a great mod. It doesn't necessarily work by default unless you use some mods, or you're attaching to it certain other things. Like, it could be SFO, it could be Radius, it could be the siege situation that I've described. Regardless of that, it is a sandbox, and it's meant to be played where you attach different things to make it your own, dependent on your own personal playstyle. Costin, signing out.